Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something a little different today.
Always up for a deep dive.
Well, today it's about learning from, those times that really test us.
Oh, good topic.
Yeah. And we've got a speech by President Russell M. Nelson as our source material.
Oh, interesting choice.
It's from back in April 2021, so right in the thick of things.
Right when everyone was figuring out what new normal even meant?
Exactly. But before anyone thinks we're getting all preachy, I want to be clear.
Yeah, lay it on us.
This isn't about religion, specifically. It's more like universal truths anyone can use.
Like no matter what you believe, there's wisdom to be found.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So, the pandemic was this huge global shakeup.
Understatement of the century, maybe.
Right. But what struck me in the speech was how President Nelson talked about the losses.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't shy away from that.
But then he immediately pivots to what was gained during that time.
It's a subtle shift, but it changes the whole tone.
For sure. Like, instead of just surviving, it becomes about, what did we learn?
Precisely. And he uses some really vivid examples.
Like what?
Well, he talks about how people found a deeper sense of faith. For one.
Even when they couldn't gather in the usual ways?
Yeah. He also highlights how families got closer, forced to actually be together.
Oh, that's interesting.
And this awareness of what really matters in life, like stripping away all the extra stuff.
It's like that saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
And then you realize maybe some of it you didn't need in the first place.
That's a good point. So less stuff, more meaning, that kind of thing.
You got it. And one of the most fascinating parts for me was this idea of holy places.
Okay, gotta admit, that sounds a bit specific.
Yeah, you'd think churches, temples, right. But President Nelson takes it further.
Oh, in what way?
He says the home became this sanctuary for a lot of people.
I can see that. When you can't go out to connect, you find it in...
Exactly. And he's not just talking about, like, a prayer room or anything.
More like the feeling of home becomes different.
It's like you're intentionally making it a space for peace and reflection, wherever that is.
Powerful stuff. But humans are social creatures, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the speech talks about that, too.
Like needing each other.
Big time. President Nelson stresses that we're meant to rely on one another.
Not just tough it out solo.
Nope. Especially when things are rough. That's when we need each other most.
I feel like we forget that sometimes, like, I gotta be strong on my own.
It's almost a badge of honor in our culture, but...
Maybe there's even more strength in admitting we need help.
Totally. And think about it. Have you ever gotten that random text from a friend just checking in?
Oh, for sure. Those mean the world.
Just a little reminder that someone's thinking of you. That's huge.
So we've got home a sanctuary and leaning on each other. What else?
Well, and the speech gets into something that really challenged my thinking.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's about how we view group activities.
Like clubs, teams, that sort of thing.
More like the idea that those are the main way we connect.
Okay, but the pandemic threw a wrench in that, didn't it?
Big time. President Nelson says faith and service. They shouldn't be confined to just gatherings.
Like, it's got to be deeper than that.
Way deeper. And then he throws in this phrase, both sides of the veil.
Ooh, now that's cryptic.
Yeah, for anyone unfamiliar, it's basically about connection beyond this earthly life.
Like, our actions ripple outwards even after we're gone.
It's a profound concept, and it makes the idea of service even bigger.
So even small acts of kindness take on a new weight.
You got it. It's about intentionality and how interconnected we all are.
Makes you think twice about, well, everything you do.
Totally. So we've got sanctuary, interdependence, purpose beyond just meetings. But there's one more big idea.
Lay it on me.
Finding stillness.
In a world that never stops, that's a tough one.
It is, but the source material emphasizes stillness as the key to hearing better.
Hearing better. Like literally.
Well, maybe literally too, but it's more about deeper listening.
To
your intuition, to wise guidance, to the needs of others. It's multi-layered.
Okay, now that's something I think we all struggle with these days.
Right. The world is LOD even without a pandemic.
True that. So how do we even start finding stillness?
Welcome back to our deep dive. We were talking about finding stillness last time.
Yeah, it's almost like a radical idea these days, right? Like, slow down in this world.
Seriously, it's like everyone's telling us to go, go, go.
But President Nelson, he's advocating for hitting pause.
And it's not just about, like, relaxing, though that's good too.
It's more about what happens when we quiet the noise around us.
Exactly. It's like when there's too much input, you can't hear anything clearly.
Not even your own thoughts, probably.
It's true. And President Nelson, he links this stillness to deeper understanding.
Like aha moments, those flashes of insight.
That's part of it, yeah. But he also talks about connecting to something bigger.
Okay, now we're getting a little woo-woo.
Well, whether you call it divine guidance or just tapping into your intuition,
The point is stillness helps us access it.
that's the idea.
Yeah,
But, like, how do we actually do this?
right. I mean, I can't just sit around meditating all day.
Me neither. But it's not about being a monk on a mountaintop.
More like incorporating small moments of quiet.
Exactly. A few deep breaths before your day gets crazy.
Or a walk in nature, leaving the phone behind.
Even 5 minutes of just sitting in silence.
It's funny how many traditions talk about this, right?
Oh, yeah. Meditation, mindfulness, yoga. It's everywhere.
Guess it's a human need, even if we fight it.
And the benefits, they go way beyond just chilling out.
Tell me more.
Well, you're more present with people, for one.
Oh, that's huge. Instead of always half listening.
And your decisions, they're less reactive, more thought out.
Makes sense when you're not just running on autopilot.
Plus, some people say it sparks creativity, too.
So maybe those artist retreats are onto something.
I think so. And you know what else? This stillness idea, it connects back to that sanctuary and interdependence we were talking about.
Oh, how so?
Well, when you're calm and grounded, you bring that to your relationships, too.
It's like inner peace ripples outward.
Exactly. Imagine how much calmer our families, communities could be.
If we all just took a breath, literally.
It's a nice thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what's fascinating to me?
Yeah.
Is how these ideas, they're from a specific faith, but they're so universal.
It's true. Like, who doesn't want more peace and connection?
No matter what you believe, that stuff matters.
Right. The world's chaotic enough on its own.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Which is why President Nelson also talks about purpose.
Oh, right. Like finding meaning beyond just our routines.
Exactly. He says the pandemic forced a lot of people to reevaluate.
Like, what am I really doing with my life kind of thing?
It's deep. And he's not saying, quit your job, become a monk.
More like
Yeah.
be intentional with your time and talents.
It's about asking, what impact do I want to make?
Ooh, that's a good question. Whether it's huge or tiny, it's about contributing.
Then it doesn't have to be dramatic, right?
Like volunteering is great, but so is just being a good friend.
Or a patient parent, a helpful neighbor. It all
It's
counts.
about showing up fully no matter what you're doing.
That's what I took from it, at least.
And I love that he ends the speech with this huge sense of optimism.
Oh, yeah, even though it was during such a tough time.
It's like he acknowledges the struggle, but points towards hope.
And not just hope as a feeling, but as a driving force.
To make things better, both for ourselves and the world.
Absolutely. So it's a lot to unpack, right?
Right, we've got sanctuary, interdependence, purpose, and stillness.
It's like a framework for not just surviving, but thriving.
Especially when things get rough.
We need all the tools we can get, you know?
True that. So for everyone listening, ponder this.
What's the question?
What makes you feel hopeful even when the world's going crazy?
Ooh, that's a good one to sit with for a while.
It is, and we'll pick up that thread in part 3. Welcome back to the deep dive. We left you with a pretty big question last time.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too much to ponder.
It's about finding hope even when things are tough, right?
That was the challenge. And honestly, it's something President Nelson talks about directly.
Oh, what does he say?
He's very clear that even in hard times, there's always something to be hopeful for.
I like that. But it's easy to just get bogged down in the negative, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he suggests something really interesting.
What's that?
Focus on what you've learned from the tough stuff.
Instead of just dwelling on the bad.
It's like reframing the whole experience.
So less woe is me, more, okay, what did this teach me?
You got it. Because challenges, they often force us to grow in ways we wouldn't choose.
Like hidden strengths come out that we didn't even know we had?
Totally. And President Nelson, he sees this as a pathway to deeper purpose.
It's like meaning is often found through the struggle, not in spite of it.
And that ties back beautifully to all the stuff we talked about, right?
The sanctuary, the connections, finding purpose beyond routine.
And of course, the stillness.
It's like they all become even more important when things are tough.
And they're like our anchors in the storm.
So if I've got my peaceful home base, people I can lean on,
In a sense of WHY, I'm doing all this, even when it's hard.
then adding that stillness on top, it's like I'm better equipped to handle anything.
You're building resilience. That's the word for it.
And the more we practice these things, the stronger we get.
It's a lifelong process, but so worth it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with a thought.
Go for it.
No matter what you're facing, remember those 4 key takeaways.
Sanctuary, connection, purpose, and stillness.
They're more than just nice ideas, they're tools for a meaningful life.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this journey, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.